hated Nadia as much as he detested Alexander, and he never lost an opportunity to demonstrate both sentiments. Kobe's 5 tons of muscle and fat shivered to a halt in a small oasis beneath dusty trees, kept alive by a pool of water the color of milky tea. Alexander had developed his own style of jumping to the ground from his 9-foot-high perch without mauling himself too badly. Since in the 5 days of their safari, he still had not gained the animals' cooperation. He was not aware that this time Kobe had positioned himself in such a way that when Alex jumped down, he landed in a puddle of water up to his knees. Boroba, Nadia's small black monkey, then jumped on top of him. As Alex struggled to pry the monkey off his head, he lost his balance and plopped down on his seat. He cursed to himself, shook off Boroba, and only with difficulty regained his footing because he couldn't see through his glasses, which were dripping filthy water. As he was looking for a clean corner of his T-shirt to wipe the lenses, the elephant thumped him on the back with his trunk, a blow that propelled him face first into the puddle. Kobe waited for Alex to pull himself up, then turned his monumental rear end and unleashed a Pantagruelian blast in his face. The other members of the safari greeted the prank with a chorus of guffaws. Nadia was in no hurry to get down. She waited for Kobe to help her dismount in a more dignified manner. She stepped upon the knee he offered her, steadied herself on his trunk, and then leaped to the ground with the grace of a ballerina. The elephant was not that considerate with anyone else, not even Mushaha, for whom he had respect but not affection. Kobe was an elephant with clear principles. It was one thing to transport tourists on his back, a job like any other, for which he was rewarded with excellent food and mud baths. It was something entirely different to perform circus tricks for a handful of peanuts. He liked peanuts, he couldn't deny that, but he received much more pleasure from tormenting people like Alexander. Why did the American get under his skin? The animal wasn't sure. It was a matter of chemistry. He didn't like the fact that Alex was always hanging around Nadia. There were 13 elephants in the caravan, but he had to ride with the girl. It was very inconsiderate of Alex to get between Nadia and him that way. Didn't he realize that they needed privacy for their conversations? A good whack with the trunk, and occasionally breaking wind in Alex's face, were just what that young man deserved. Kobe trumpeted loudly once Nadia was down and had thanked him by planting a big kiss on his trunk. The girl had good manners. She would never humiliate him by offering him peanuts. "That elephant is infatuated with Nadia," joked Alexander's grandmother, Kate Cold. Boroba didn't like the turn Kobe's relationship with his mistress had taken. He had observed them with some worry. Nadia's interest in learning the language of the pachyderms could have dangerous consequences for him. She couldn't be thinking of getting a different pet, could she? Perhaps the moment had come for him to feign some illness in order to gain his mistress's total attention, but he was afraid she would leave him in camp and he would miss the wonderful outings around the preserve. This was his only chance to see the wild animals, and, in addition, he wanted to keep a close eye on his rival. He installed himself on Nadia's shoulder, claiming that position as his right, and from there shook his fist at the elephant. "And this silly monkey is jealous," Kate added. She was used to Boroba's shift of moods, because she had lived under the same roof with him for nearly 2 years. It was like having a freakish, furry little man in her apartment, and it had been that way from the beginning, because Nadia had agreed to come to New York to study and live with Kate, only if she could bring Boroba. They were never apart. They were so inseparable that they had obtained special permission for the monkey to go to school with her. Boroba was the only monkey in the history of the city's education system to attend classes regularly. It wouldn't have surprised Kate to learn that the creature knew how to read. She had nightmares in which Boroba, sitting on the sofa wearing glasses and sipping a glass of brandy, was reading the financial section of the Times. Kate had observed the strange trio formed of Alexander, Nadia, and Boroba for some time. The monkey, who was jealous of anyone who came too near his mistress, had at first accepted Alexander.